So, David Braben, we're looking at the original Elite. It's running on an emulator. It used to run on the BBC Micro. What was it, and why was it important in the history of the games industry?
It's a game in which you have a spaceship, a small amount of money, quite a poor spaceship, and you have to make money from that spaceship by trading goods, by being a pirate. It's an open world, you can go where you like, you can do what you like, and that was what made it really exciting.
And it was 3D in a way that people just hadn't seen before.
I think it was the first true 3D game, and we're using wireframe graphics, and yes, it had a completely different look to most of its sort of competitors at the time, which were mostly 2D jumping around games. It changed the way people looked at games. You know, we didn't have a score, we didn't have 3 lives. You could play it for days, even weeks on end. And I think people did.
Nearly 30 years on, you're relaunching Elite. Why?
It's something, the Elite series are very dear to my heart. Obviously because it started there. But also it's a game that I've wanted to come back to for a very, very long time. It's a game that originally we wrote for ourselves rather than an imagined market. So it's sort of revisiting this. It's the sort of game I would very much like to play today. And so that's why we're wanting to make it.
And what will this new version be like? Because obviously the world of games is completely different now from what it was when Elite was born.
But isn't that great? The world of games has changed phenomenally for the nearly 30 years I've been in it. And I think one of the big changes now is online. So one of the big things that this game will add is online play. So you can play with your friends online, or play on your own, whatever is your choice. But the way that changes the game dynamic is really important and really exciting.
How do you plan to get this off the ground?
There is a very interesting new website called Kickstarter, which we're planning to use, where it's what's called crowdfunding, crowdsourced funding, where lots of people pledge money, and if it reaches a certain amount, which in this case is $2 million or £1.25 million, then we go ahead and make the game. And I think what's very, very exciting about that is it brings the funding directly from the people who are going to play it. We don't have a publisher in between who's saying, oh, what is the target market and all this sort of thing. The target market are the people who sign up for the game. It's a combination of this being a great new opportunity and also the fact that bank finance in the tech sector is virtually non-existent, and that has been a real problem in the UK for quite a few years now.
So how far have you actually got in developing this new version of Elite?
Well, so far we've built a lot of technology. You can see us sort of soak testing it behind to get the network working on remote servers that are scalable for large numbers of people. And in order to make a game, you do need a lot of technology behind it. We're in place for that now, so we have a fantastic opportunity to make the game as good as we can make it. And what we would do going forward now is actually build the game on top of that technology that people can play. So all of the sort of trading, combat, all of that sort of thing, all the worlds that you can visit.
So Elite was originally played on the BBC Micro back in the 80s. How do you see this being played?
Well, it's going to be played on the PC, which I think is a big market at the moment, but also with time we will look at other platforms going forward. But in terms of Kickstarter, it's for Elite on the PC, and we'll look at the others down the line. I mean, hopefully, if we get greater funding on Kickstarter, we'll look at other platforms sooner rather than later, which will be very exciting. Now, as to whether there is a market for it out there, one of the things is the fantastic things from Kickstarter is we will find out. You know, if people don't subscribe to it, then there's not a market. Very, very simple, and I'll be very upset. But that probably will be a good thing to find out early rather than later on. Yay!